Go. So, hello, my name is Cynthia Lees, and I'd like to welcome you to Bearing Witness to Miracles and Blessings in Daily Life. It's an interfaith discussion where I'm inviting people to bring your own sacred texts and teachings, should you have any that you'd like to bring to back up whatever stories you wanted to share. And I'm pleased to say that I seem to be getting a little bit better at advertising. We now have one guest again. Thank you, Dr. Jade, for coming. Yes, yes. And
Oh,
and
it's fun to be here.
good, good. I'm glad you think so. Um, yes, it does say it's recording. Okay. When I first came to Mahikari, so Dr. Jane and I now share this practice called Sukyo Mahikari, and it's not a religion, it's a faith. It's a spiritual practice. And when I first came to it, I went back to the members of my interdenominational Christian church and said, it's kind of like an app you put on top of your religion. It helps you get closer to your religion. And when I first came to this practice, it has three great virtues in this practice, which are gratitude, acceptance for the will of God, and humility. And I was pretty depressed at the time. My MO for most of my life was, diagnosis was major depression and, suicidal ideation everywhere. If I didn't like it, I could always exit, but I didn't. I was stayed around. And I learned that after 30, if you take a nap, things look better. And that helped. And I also learned that if you color, you can get lost
Mm.
and you can just focus on it's kind of like doing a puzzle or something where you're just focusing on that, then whatever was out here that was making you so whatever, you can forget it for a while.
Mm.
And so I came up with this pen name Willow Sage, and she created these coloring books where you first one was cultivating gratitude, and you were grateful for anything in the garden because you were cultivating it. So there were garden images. It was pretty rough. It came off of pictures from Canva and pre-created images by by people. And then I got a graphic designer, and we worked with Soaring Gratitude, and she hadn't heard of AI yet. It was taking forever to get these different images. And I finally asked her, how was she coming up with them? Well, I go down to the pub and I ask my buddies, what would you use for a wind image? And they were coming up with kites
Mm.
and sails and birds and things like that. And so I showed her at this time I had Chat GPT, and I said, well, give me some ideas. What would you have for wind images? And boom, you've got, 50 ideas.
Right.
And things went a little bit faster then. Um, and the images that she made for that coloring book, this was a divine arrangement. She was using, I don't speak graphic designer, but the vector design things that she was using and the typography were somehow Japanese. And,
Perfect.
and in the Soaring Gratitude, there are four images. There's like a Japanese fan, and there
Mm.
are a couple of others that called to mind Muta in our prayer book that we read every day. I'd be reading a prayer we have this joy of morning prayer, a daily connection, and I'd be reading one of those passages, and I'd say, "Wait a minute, I just saw that picture."
Mm.
And so from there, the next coloring book we created was Zen Gratitude, and it had Japan images, and those took time because I sorted them out from, okay, well, here are kinds of pieces from the prayer book. I want a picture of Suza, the main temple, and I want images of the Mount Fuji and images of the Japanese countryside as seen from a train window. Well, I
Mm.
got Sousa from the train window, and I shared it to the Joy of Morning prayer thread and immediately got back, you can't see Sousa from a train window. I'm like, okay. So that didn't go in the book. It got redone. But yeah, so that was I started on gratitude by coloring into gratitude and teaching other people to do it.
That's great.
And then after I published the book, I tried doing it. Nobody freaking has time to color something every day and then write down three things. It doesn't happen. I mean, I had this 28-day thing. Do this every day, and at the end of the month, you'll have a roadmap to your gratitude success. BS. I never got through one of those books because within a month, I opened a note on my phone and 8:55 a.m. I'm so very grateful. The coffee tastes wonderful. The birds are singing, this and that and the other. And yeah, and I've been keeping that gratitude journal, my daily gratitude, since June 23rd, 2023. Janelle? You tell me. When does volume one start? And we're getting
On June 2023, July 2023.
yeah. So the third week of June 2023. And I learned at that time, Kindle Vella was a platform. If you've ever heard of Kindle, it's a e-reader. Kindle Vella was a serial platform,
Mm.
and you could publish a chapter a day, an episode a day,
Mm.
and so long as it was 600 words. So the first couple of weeks, everything was 600 words. I'm so very grateful for this, that, and the other. And then I noticed after 3 weeks, they were 2,000, 3,000 words. I'm like, okay, 2x4 between the eyes. The more grateful you are, the more you put that attitude of gratitude out, the more,
Yes, me too.
yeah, it's that infinity loop of what you put out, you get back.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to bear witness to, Dr. Jane? You're new to this practice of Sukyo Mahikari, so your witness might not even have anything to do with that, but
Oh, it does, of course, because first of all, thank you.
thank you for coming.
And I just want to acknowledge you for your your vitality. That vitality to me is an expression of your commitment. So that's how I know you, or how, and of course, we've never met in person yet, but we do know each other through the prayer. But I do experience you, Cynthia, as someone who's really deeply aligned and committed, that you're living your purpose, like what you're committed to on the planet. And I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, I really thank you. I do recognize, by the way, the tears because I have that experience myself, being someone who has made the choice to live my commitment on the planet. And what I know about that for myself and kind of witnessing other people is that that's not always a path that is recognized or acknowledged. And we don't do it for that. We do it for our commitment. We do it for who we are and why we choose and how we choose to be, the people we choose to be. But I do experience you as someone who brings light, brings love, has an enormous commitment for transformation on the planet. And I respect you. I just have a deep regard and respect for you. So thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you. Thank
just
you.
that first. And then I would say, I color, Cynthia, I color all the time. And I also journal. So you'd be surprised, right? How this conversation, when you invited me to the conversation, who knew what we'd be talking about? But as it turns out, right, as it unfolds, I do color. I do find the connection in my hands and the visual, the color, the focus. It's very, very transformative for me.
Mhm.
I mean, if you could see, I've got coloring books. I've got markers. I got ones that I love. I prefer coloring with these special markers versus a crayon, for example, because I also, it's tactile. I like how it feels.
Right, right.
So I did that, and I've been journaling like forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And I'm a writer,
Right.
so I've been published as an academic. My colleagues and I have a textbook which is called Intimate Relationships. Where have you been? Where are you going?
Ooh.
And we have done that for, gosh, I don't know, a decade-ish plus. with young adult college students. So
Oh,
my doctorate is in family social science, and so I'm a university level teacher. I'm not currently teaching right now because I've taken time off to care for my mother. And Cynthia, you know this, my mother's going to be 95 years old. And
blessing.
this is in alignment with my commitment, like who I wanted to be on the planet. I wanted to be someone who not only talks about light and love, but lives it.
Mhm.
So that's who I am. I'm caring for my mom. Um, so the other thing that's happened is I published a book of poetry,
Mhm.
and that came out of my commitment to move into and through events that happened in the early childhood, which are very, very traumatic. And poetry was how my voice found its expression. And then I have another book that's being published now, which is more memoir, and it's about miracles. So why did I say those things? Because they're about my path. Thank you
Right.
for the invitation.
Mhm.
And becoming a family social scientist was what my humanity did to try to understand my family.
Mhm.
The early life alcoholic incestuous family system that I was born into, and experienced those traumas myself physically. So all of it, I'm at a stage like you kind of like look and go, oh gosh, that all makes sense now.
Mhm.
So it's the front of the hand, back of the hand, what looks like it's unthinkable and unspeakable over time, and being willing to go into it and through it by the grace of God. I now am at a place where can give voice to that.
Mhm.
One is personal transformation, which is we always start with ourselves, but most importantly to me is that in this my speaking, whatever it is, wherever it is, however I show up, would be transformation and possibility for others on the planet who have been through, and most of us have been through something
Mhm. Everybody
in life.
has.
And so that's it. Like in terms of a spiritual practice, how I came to Sukyo Mahikari is I went to last fall. I went to an incredible workshop with David Cunningham. So it's a transformational workshop called The Awakening, and it was in Los Angeles. I met Nahid Khosrow there,
Mhm.
and she invited me and said, "Would you like to receive light?" And I accepted. And after that happened, then within months, in continuing this work with David Cunningham, I verbally said, I am light, I am love. Like that's who I am on the planet. And then I was talking to Nahid, and I said, well, when's the next training? She goes, well, it's next week in Los Angeles, or excuse me, in San Francisco. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
Mhm.
So I live in Minneapolis, went to San Francisco, and received, the training, went through the spiritual development training. And when I came home here to Minneapolis, every single morning, without exception, since April 24th, I've given my mother light every single morning.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So for me, this time right now, this is what my life is about. It's
Mhm.
giving light to my mother. And of course, I'm receiving
Right.
profound transformation in giving that light. And I share with you and others every morning on the prayer call. And that's very powerful to meet other people who are committed to being, not speaking about, but being the light that we say that we are, and instruments for bringing God's light and love to the planet. And I'm really honored to know you and the others on the prayer call.
Thank you. And I assert that by coming together on the daily prayer call, not only do we gain by the 25 minutes of joint prayer,
Mhm.
which is profound, but after we close that out and we open it for discussion,
Yeah.
hearing those experience stories of this
Yeah.
happened and this happened and this happened.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to speak out of school, but your mother has a diagnosis and
Yeah.
things have shifted since you came home with the light.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. My mom is diagnosed with dementia, and that is so fascinating in terms of the timing, which is what you're speaking to.
Mhm.
Um, it's escalated. You could say it escalated is one way to talk about it. You could say it's, deepened, however, but she is clearly a 95. Some you could hear, possibly people could hear 95, she's preparing for the end of, this life. But we also know there are many people that are at that age that are vital and alive and it's still happening. So, and from my mother, there was a pretty significant turn in terms of the dementia being more prominent in her life, more difficult. And we've moved toward palliative care. So working with a medical team for how to give her the best possible quality of life. And I have to just say, though, like every morning when I say, give her light and say the prayer, she's smiling. Like and this is something that I really want to share with people because, brings tears to me. Like I love her. And what I want to say is that anything I share about her is in respect of her and her life. And due to her own early traumas, etc., she had used alcohol in her entire life until just 6 years ago.
Wow.
And so I was integral in that, because I chose to go care for her, etc. And what happened is when she's never been someone who, quote, believed in God. When I invited her to receive the light, and she's like the second day, she goes like, I'm a different person. So this comes from, at that time, she's 94 years old. She's beginning toward the end of her life, and she knows it. And now she smiles. She smiles.
She didn't smile before.
Yeah, she's really peaceful when we have our prayer, and it's an incredible, profound privilege to be an adult child, providing love, care in every way, because I'm everything for her, power of attorney, it's everything. And now to witness her spiritually at peace. And like you give light, so you know what that's like to see someone's face, that she's her soul, she's at peace. It is like I live long enough for this. If I never do another thing,
right? Yeah, you're good.
To like really, and I've done a lot, believe me.
Right.
But this tops everything because it's her, another human being, especially my mother, to be an instrument to bring the light of the love of God to her and see her with peace. It's everything for me. So
beautiful. Yeah, that's not something I had. I became a light practitioner in 2020 and lost my family between 2002 and 2014. My mother and then my father. My father had dementia. And yeah, there was combative, there was suspicious, there was there was a time where I limited him to one 20-minute phone call a week, because I didn't know. Keep your energy elsewhere. And my mother was with us at the end of her life, and I was with my sister at the end of her life, and I was at my father's bedside, but yeah, he was in somebody else's care. Thank you very much. Not gonna live with me. We have boundaries, yeah. And for the people in my mother-in-law had dementia, and I was her 24/7 caregiver for most of a year. I mean, she came to work with me. I was a pastor's assistant, and she would sit in the sanctuary and look out the window and look at the altar. She was just so happy, she's good with that, but yeah, had fear, and I wish I'd had the light at that time,
yeah. It's a profound human experience for and the living of it is often, I think, something that isn't given a platform. So I appreciate you having this conversation, because being a family member of, a care provider for a family member as they age, that's talked about a lot. It's not that that's not talked about. I think what I appreciate about this conversation is opening it up to the spiritual dimension.
Right.
Like in my field in family social science, it's holistic. So we always acknowledge people's spirituality. And in many other sort of clinical aspects, maybe even research aspects, our spiritual life isn't always acknowledged. And I think in the world we're living in now, that's more and more, at least people, you can point to it, and then there's something that is almost, it's difficult to find language for. That's why I think it's so valuable if we do struggle to find words to describe it, because I do think that in the speaking, we create, and so we can be creating a possibility for others to be able to, for themselves, tap into what that experience is. I mean, I think for me, I've been moved to tears many, many, many times. There are different tears at this stage because I've cried a lot in my life. A lot of the tears in my life were from the trauma early on. And in fact, when I went through my training, have a doctorate in family social science, my path, one way you could go on this path is to be a marriage and family therapist. And I couldn't do it because I was crying all the time.
Right.
Because my own stuff wasn't healed,
Right.
So my now, the weeping is from a different place completely.
And it's a better weeping.
It is. It's openness, appreciation, gratitude, love, like witnessing the miracle of life, and just like that privilege, really, for me, that humanity, being a human, is all of it. We don't get to pick and choose, what's the good, the bad, the otherwise. It's all of it.
The first time I received light, I think I went through 5 tissues. I was bawling my eyes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a profound privilege.
And we have another book group here, but you don't need to come to the group. I recommend a book for you, The True Light.
Okay.
This is by Lena Banerjee Brown, PhD, Ordinary People on the Extraordinary Spiritual Path of Sukyo Mahikari. And we meet, the book club is reading it together because, we can't, ADD or whatever, we're not focused to read it alone. So we go through it a little, but she was talking about her history, and where the field of psychology needs to add in another layer. And I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Hello.
So we'll send you the link.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. If you joined the community to get here, the book club is there too. But
thank you. I did join I couldn't get here unless I joined the community.
It's designed that way, but there are back doors.
I'm happy. I'm open to new. In fact, that's really part of this process too, like the levels of evolution. How do I say? I would say evolution and elevation at the same time.
Yeah.
So the layers that have, you pull back the layers and pull back and pull back, and part of in my experience of saying yes to being an instrument, bringing light and love on the planet, is also new friends, new people, new possibilities, new places on the planet. Like, hello, I'm going to Japan in the fall. So there's new worlds that open up inside of the kind of person that I wanted to be. Like, I wanted to be someone who is love and light and service. And so I think that's, to me, it's a hidden world. In many ways, it's hidden. So by that, I mean, it's a personal choice. And we don't necessarily, people don't necessarily acknowledge it. And we don't need people to acknowledge it. And inside of that level, my own experience of commitment, new pathways open up. So I'm very excited, like meeting you, meeting the others on the, on the call, and the people I'll meet when I go to Japan, people all over the world. It's just at this time, specifically on planet Earth, I can't even imagine the profound privilege that I have to be alive right now.
Right.
When you look around, it's like there's a lot of crazy making. And in the middle of the crazy making, there's lots of light making and love making, like it's I think, and you said it earlier, I think you said about choice,
Mhm.
that for me is what it means to be in alignment with how I see myself and how I pray God sees, me, like we're in alignment to the choices that I make. I
When you
pray they
said
make a difference on the planet. Yeah.
You remind me when I first started teaching middle school. In middle school, you team taught, and so I was next door to Larry, who's a Catholic math teacher, and he came in smiling every day. I came in crying every day. I was in tears getting there, and I'm like, "How do you do it?" And he's like, "It's a choice. It's a choice."
It is.
And
It has been for me. It has
Mhm,
been for me. And I think it's it, there's choice, and then there's, how do I say it? As I've evolved, as I've chosen to evolve, because
mhm,
we all have the choice. Each human has their choice about what they'll say yes to, how far they, want to open their hearts and their minds and their souls to who God is and what light is, like that is a personal, I think each person is on a path that they determined for themselves what that is, right? And I've been blessed because I've met others who, like you, like Nahid, are willing to share that experience of light.
mhm.
And I think it's really critical to share, because it's in the sharing, that's how we hear and see and comprehend something new. And in my case, I see that this is a fulfillment of my call in my life, is for
Mhm,
my purpose,
mhm,
yet to be determined, all of the things that will unfold. Clearly, at this stage in my speaking with you, there's, for me, there are gazillions of other ways that I can make a contribution on the planet, no question. But my focus is very familial,
Right.
very focused on my mother and my family and my children and my grandchildren, and like that. And it's just exactly what I'm being called to do right now. So for that, I'm grateful.
Absolutely. I'm going to share the screen because I didn't know that you were going to say that, and yet, see if we can get this to full screen. How do I do that? I gotta move a few things. Sorry. I should have had you guys do it. Anyways, never mind the full screen thing, because I'll have to go back to the beginning slide. I pray that I may live up to Sue God's expectations. I am determined to fulfill whatever mission God entrusts me with. And that's from the prayer book, Japanese page 100-4. And yeah, I'll let you guys queue up the slides in case we decide to go back to them, because then you'll have a full screen. um, but yeah, that's in the Yokoshi prayer book of Sukyo Mahikari, and these nuggets
Mm.
that we get to share every day um, are just priceless.
Mm.
I'm looking back at my transcript because you had said something else.
Mm.
Yeah, it's in the sharing, absolutely. Um, I acknowledge you for whatever it was that you saw. You knew David Cunningham somehow from being landmark staff or something before,
Mm. Yeah.
and you chose to go to his awakening weekend.
Yes.
And from that weekend,
Mm.
not only were you moved to bring him to an awakening weekend in Minneapolis, because we know how troubled Minneapolis has been and they need the love,
Yeah.
um, but also you accepted the invitation for the light
Mm.
and followed that to a primary course. I mean, that's big.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Those are two huge things, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I went to Japan, I think it was about the time I went to Japan last year, you guys were at this awakening weekend.
Uh,
And now you're looking at going to Japan for Autumn Grand. and how much has changed in the space of a year.
Yeah.
Uh,
Really.
and so David Cunningham, um, his book, Your Love Does Matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the attention span of a drunken gnat when it comes to reading anymore. Those
That's
who
great.
can do, those who can't teach. Yeah, I taught reading. But I listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And I've listened to that book driving from place to place, and he has an invitation in there to come up with a mantra for yourself and repeat it 16 times, and he's got all of the reasoning behind the 16, and that's powerful. And I can remember driving through the mountains. My background here is my local reservoir, the McCreary County Reservoir. But driving through the mountains, looking at greenery like this, singing, I am light, I am love, I am light and love, I am source in the world. One, and then 16. And yeah, powerful stuff. And Janelle, if you want to pull up and share a slide for David's links and the awakening, whatever you have. Um, I had them putting together slides when you said you might be coming, and we've mentioned these before. Um, I love what he's doing. I love the story that he has about coming to love and coming to realizing that your love footprint matters. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Can you, there.
Yes.
So you went to present and got it fat. Okay. I thought if I went to present, I'd have to go back to the beginning. So yeah, stepping
Yeah.
into a deeper way of living, relating and leading. So tell me, what do I get when I come to Minneapolis?
Oh my goodness, Cynthia. Wow. So just to connect, who I am to who David is and what's happening here in Minneapolis. Um, yes, more than 30 years ago, I participated in landmark education, and I was a staff member in Minneapolis, early 2000s. And I, just spent years and years and years in this beautiful, beautiful education. And David, I've known David through that. And so when the fall, I was like, I saw an announcement, and that was it. Like I didn't need to have an introduction. I didn't need anything. I was just like, I'm there.
Hmm.
And it was very similar to a few years before. I felt like I wanted to go to India, and the universe just opened the doors, and I've been to India twice since then, on a spiritual, just a spiritual path. And David, um, Davis brought together the worlds of what he did for 35 years more, working across the globe or bringing transformation across the globe. He's been in on six continents and has led to more than 500,000 people. The possibility of transformation. And he's absolutely brilliant. He's given his life for transformation. And the new work, which is called the Awakening Weekend, is where he's brought together his spiritual awakening, his own experience of spiritual awakening with the 35 plus years of his work on transformation. And my experience was simply, I guess, fulfillment. Like these two conversations, we live in the world like they're separate conversations, but they're not separate for me. Like for me, everything literally is God. And so while I've had all kinds of, what look like, you know, different modalities or approaches or practices, I've done probably hundreds of things, right? But for me, they're all possible pathways where I can have one more expanded experience of who and what God is and who and what I am as someone who, as you've heard me say earlier, so like I've chosen to give my life in service, right, to know God and to bring light and love to the planet. So David Cunningham, I laugh because he is love on steroids. Like, he is, no kidding. He has demonstrated on the planet that he is no joke. He's committed to what he's doing, evidenced by what I already told you about, 6 continents and 500,000 people. But this work, we have a small group. We have a small group. We don't have a large group. We'll probably have 20, 25 people. And the commitment at the level of light and love and transformation is unlike anything that I've experienced. And it's also, I do really fully believe this is part of evolution. Like, each person will feel called to, when they're ready, to what God or the universe or light or love or source, whatever we call. I write in, one of my books recently, like, I don't think that all of it cares what we call it, as long as we do.
Right.
So,
Right. Just
yeah.
call. Just call.
So, we could call, who cares? Like, as humans, we come up with language. I think that Creator God is light and love, and beyond my comprehension, right? Beyond my comprehension. But back to David. Wow. When I was in the weekend in Los Angeles, for me, it was just one more, not one more, a very important next step for me, to literally step into what was next in terms of how I would be of service on the planet. And then, of course, I met Nahid and opened that door for me to be a light, to go through the training, to bring light.
Were you living with your mother again already when you did the
Yeah,
awakening weekend? Yes. Okay. So you're
yeah.
already taking care of her
I've been caring for her for
for about
6 years.
okay. Okay.
6 years. 8 years. 8 years ago, I resigned a position at a university to go move from one location to another location to care for her. There's been a lot of things that have happened, but inside of that commitment, these things have opened up and have unfolded. So, with regard to David being in Minneapolis, wow. One thing I want to just share, and thank you for pointing to it, like the profound privilege of being someone that says, "It shall be."
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that I did that. Now, a greater way to say it, more an honest way to say it, God did it, but God did do it through a person, and that person's me. And I said, I want David Cunningham in Minneapolis. So I'm the source person. I said, "It shall be," and it is happening. So for that, I feel, just an experience of myself, like who I am on the planet, like really someone who not been in, there's nothing easy about being a person that walks, necessarily easy. It could be effortless, which is different than easy, I think.
Very,
But,
very, very.
yeah, so I committed, and it's happening. And guess what? It doesn't look like how I thought it would look, which is also very divine, because then it's not about me. It's about what does the divine want to have happen? And so it shall be. And it is happening. So it's a profound privilege. The partnership with David, anybody who hears this now or whenever,
Right.
this is a soul on the planet that is, when he says to you, or you hear him say, "Call me anytime," he's not kidding. You call him anytime. He's not too big. He's like right there right now. So you mentioned the love footprint. One of the things I love about what he has invited us to consider, in the same way we think about having a carbon footprint, like how we consider what are we doing on the planet to help Mother Earth, in terms of emissions and things like that. David has created something he calls the love footprint. And the question is, how do we leave people? What's the imprint that we leave people with? Do we leave people, when they have an interaction with us, do they feel loved? Do they feel cared for? Do they feel listened to? Right? Or do they feel frustrated and, whatever? So that again harkens back to that idea of choice, right, Cynthia? Who do we choose to be?
Mhm.
And I think that the invitation that goes out right now from me about David and Minneapolis and the Awakening Weekend is anyone who chooses to be on the planet, awake, alive, and a part of the transformation, like this is it. This is one of many things. It's not like the only thing, but this is the one that I'm inviting people
Cool. All right.
to
If
join
somebody wants
us.
to share that slide again, and we'll speak what the link is so that people can get it. Oh, next one back. That one. Okay, theawakeningweekend.com. So David Cunningham's site for this is theawakeningweekend.com. And even if those aren't around, if this has been up too many years, yourlovedoesmatter.com. I don't know if we made a slide for that or not. Probably not. Gets you to his book and his invitation. I was so moved by the book and the invitation that I have coloring pages that I hand out that at the bottom of them that explain the coloring page says your love matters because I used AI to write them, and you can't get AI to do 4 words, not successfully. And so your love matters. And if I'm in the grocery store and I come across a parent with kids hanging off the cart, I might say, "Hey, mom or dad, does your kid like, somebody in your life like to color?" And then at the bottom, they get to see that, I signed this pledge to be responsible for my love footprint. And because I think it's important. And I make that, so I should say, just tell them that their love matters, and perhaps mom or dad starts thinking about it too. Um, thank you for that share. And you can stop the share. Um,
Mm.
okay. Yeah, we have it on the next slide on the 18 slide. Increase your love footprint if you want to share that. It's the bottom link. They're working on it. And that's yourlovedoesmatter.com. Increase your love footprint at www.yourlovedoesmatter.com, and that will get you his book and his invitations. The join the community link there. If you're here, you've already joined the community. That's the conscious collective community.mn.co. It's a Mighty Networks community. A friend of mine is starting to join it to build it. And then Dr. Jane and I have been talking about this art of true light that we offer. And if you're interested in receiving 10 minutes of light or more, where all you have to do is sit down, chill, close your eyes, and allow somebody to raise their hand and offer you some light, sukyomahikari.org. And this is the link to the North America site. But if you just Google Sukyo Mahikari, Sukyo Mahikari, Mahikari.org, and find locations. Find a location near you. I believe there's 21 locations in North America. And if you don't find one close enough to you, then be matched with a light giver. Go to joyfullight.com. That's joyful, Joyful, Light.com. That's 3 L's, and that will get you to Janet Lamb's website. Okay, you can stop the share. Thank you. Janet Lamb is the director of the Reno Center for Sukyo Mahikari, and I met her at the end of 2019 at one of those last in-person events in San Diego. And she said every time she looked at me across the room, I was in tears. I was at a point of transition. My second 20-year marriage was falling apart, and things were not good. And so she said, "May I offer you light?" What's light? Okay. So I let her offer me light, and I cried the whole way through.
Yeah.
And afterwards, she said, "Okay, well, you're going to go home to Nashville," because that's where I lived at the time. And I have a study. Well, my dad was a scientist, so okay, son, yep, let me help. And she said, "I want you to rate your stress levels before and after for 10 sessions." and I'm going to hook you up. Well, so the divine arrangements, the light practitioner, 2 blocks from the chiropractor. Every 2 weeks, get adjusted, go get my light. I went in, I wanted to get my hip to feel better. Well, see, the thing is, the light doesn't promise healing. Okay. The purpose of the art of true light is not to heal illness, but to enable all humankind to participate in the great divine work of achieving the divine plan, and at the same time to advance on the path to attaining divine nature through the purification of the trinity of the spirit, mind, and body, and thus resurrect their original power as children of God. That's a whole lot, and I didn't understand it. I was just looking to feel better, but each time I had to check it off, it was, well, I felt less stressed. So at the end of 10 sessions, 9 out of 10, there was improvement, and 1 out of 10, I didn't feel any worse. So I'm like, okay, what's next? Well, come to Reno, 3 days. 3 days, $200. It's going to change your life. And boy, did it. And yeah, I love guiding people. Especially if you don't know where you want to become a light practitioner, go to Reno. You get to sleep. The center is in her home. You get to sleep on, cots or on the floor or on a blow up mattress or something in front of the Goshintai. So you're bathed. So the thing about the primary course, it's not offered on Zoom. Everything is offered on Zoom. Even Landmark Worldwide Education is offered on Zoom, but not Mahikari because they want you to be bathed in the light. And they want you to receive so many sessions before you even get there because of how strong the light is. And when you go to Reno, you're staying in the light for 3 days or longer. And it's a trip. And it's beautiful. And Reno is the Reno Center and Spa because they have a hot tub and they have a red light sauna, infrared sauna. So and they used to have it in April and October, but I think it was September. So I'm not sure but if you go in April, they have pink and white cherry blossoms all through the neighborhood. So you feel like you're in Japan, except for the wild horses grazing on the front lawn. And it's beautiful. I'm looking at the time. The divine arrangements of you meeting Nahid, meeting, coming to the prayer call, and now I will be coming to Minneapolis for the Awakening weekend.
Yay.
I'm coming to meet David and see what all of that is, but I'm also coming because I know that the people in his tribe are going to say yes when I say, may I offer you light? And I gather there are like several 15-minute breaks through the day, and I only need 10, so you got 5 to run and do everything else you have to do.
Beautiful. I want to thank you for that beautiful service, just like giving of your light and your love. And coming in and being a part of the weekend is really wonderful. I'm really honored that you're coming.
Well,
So
I want to meet you. I want to meet your mom.
Yeah, you will.
And I'm still in Landmark Education. We have a program manager up near you, so I'm reaching out to him now.
Yay.
Yeah, who knows?
Yay.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that it was in a different division, but something about the way things were written. No, they couldn't do another spiritual practice. Oh, they couldn't do another spiritual practice while they were involved in Landmark Education, which I thought was really interesting because Landmark is we have like a thread on Landmark Ministries or Landmark Church because it is very spiritual, even though they're teaching transformation and they don't mention God.
I got that.
Yeah, which I thought was really pretty amazing. Well, I want to thank you for coming today.
You're very welcome.
Taking time out of your schedule, and
it's a privilege.
The privilege is mine, and I'm very grateful for Desi B and Janelle for their support and
thank you guys. Thank you both.
Being available. Glad I didn't have to throw you on. Janelle's very good at being stuck on and saying, "Oops, I gotta run. Can you?" and she's like, "I don't know what to say," but turns out she's a preacher's kid. Yeah, she's got lots to say.
She can figure it out. Yeah,
just fine. It's like
awesome.
you have stories, yeah. So, yeah, thank you, and tell your friends if you know anybody who has witness to bear about the hand of God in their life. It doesn't have to be Mahikari. Second Wednesday of the month, at least through this year, because somebody needs to hear it someplace and it will be archived and they'll find it.
Yep. Thank you again.
I love you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you too. Much love. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. All right. I'm going to end this meeting.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.